Namaste, welcome to Hatha Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua. For today's practice, you'll want to have 2 blocks and a strap. Let's begin in any comfortable seated position. So in the past several classes, I've been talking about the practice of cultivating mindful equanimity, which is often defined as inner peace or evenness of mind, where we let go of the judging of things as good or bad. I want to share an excerpt from one of my favorite poems by Rumi. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense. So practicing equanimity opens up our perspective outside of dualistic thinking or polarized thinking of black and white, because really everything is a gradient. And it allows us to surpass the clinging and the aversion, which are 2 main root causes of suffering explained in the Yoga Sutras. When we're so fixated in trying to run away from what we think will bring us displeasure, or trying to cling to what we think will give us pleasure. And so equanimity empowers us to see the bigger picture of how we're all interconnected. As Thich Nhat Hanh said, interbeing. Today, we're going to practice postures that will bring us into forward folds and help to bring energy activation to our crown chakra or Sahasrara chakra. And when energy is activated and flowing in balance here, we're able to remember our connection to the divine and that we are all connected to pure consciousness. And so when we come from that perspective, equanimity is just a natural thing that we cultivate as well. So let's bring that into the practice today. Let's begin by checking in. Let your body be still as you sit tall and grounded. Maybe close the eyes. Bring your attention to scan throughout your physical body. Just noticing what's here right now through sensations. Sense the flow of your breath just as it is. Feeling your energetic state. Notice your mind. What kinds of thoughts have you been feeding? What is the quality of your attention right now? Are you feeling present in your body? And how does this all feel emotionally for you? What's present at your heart? Just slowing down the breath. Inhale through the nose slowly. Exhale through the lips deeply. Inhaling a little slower. Exhaling a little deeper. As you continue to lengthen the breath, I invite you to call to mind anything that you appreciate in this moment. Activating gratitude. Now begin to clarify an intention for today's practice. Is there some area in your life right now in which the practice of mindful equanimity can support well-being? Is there an area where you might feel polarized in your thinking, in which you can remember and dissolve the veils of separation? And then I invite you to call to mind somebody that you would like to dedicate your practice to today. Yet another way to remember our interconnection with each other. How all our actions and thoughts and words ripple and affect others. And so with this, let's set our intentions and dedications while cultivating a resonant space to share our practice in by chanting Om 3 times. As I mentioned in our past few classes focusing on equanimity, one of the ways that we can cultivate it is through the breath, helping to create a calm and focused mind-body. Let's begin the practice of Ujjayi Pranayama, which means victorious breathing. Closing the lips, softly narrow the back of your throat. Create a very gentle whispering sound that you can listen to as you lengthen your inhales and exhales evenly through your nose. Taking the time to fully expand with the inhalation and to empty any last bit of air from the lungs. As you listen to that slow, easy, balanced rhythm, please make your way down onto your back. We're going to start warming up our hamstrings just a little bit there as we focus on especially that area today in our forward folds. Let's come into Ardha Apanasana. Bend your right knee into your chest, straighten the left leg on the floor, and relax your shoulders down away from the neck on the ground. Lengthen the neck. Hugging your thigh, your right thigh with your 2 hands. As you draw it towards you, notice if your right outer hip lifts closer to your right armpit, where it shortens the right side of your torso. Can you lengthen the right side of your torso? So take your right thumb, hook it on the crease of your right outer hip, and press that forward towards the front of your mat as you bring the right thigh towards you. So inviting a balance of lengthening the left and the right sides of your torso as you're bringing the right leg towards you. So now hold the right thigh with 2 hands and keep your 2 hips evenly facing the ceiling or the sky as you flex your feet, press your big toe mounds forward. We're going to create a little vinyasa flow here. So as you hug the right thigh towards you, inhale to whatever degree that's comfortable without strain. Straighten the right leg. And exhale, bend it. So keep the right thigh close to you throughout this movement. Inhale towards straightening, right leg. Exhale, bending. So on your own, try another 3 cycles of breath. Now, at the same time, keep your left leg from turning out. Spin the inseam of your left thigh slightly towards the ground so your left knee points straight up towards the sky. One more flow with the breath. And then slide your right leg to the floor. Bend your left knee towards your chest. Hug your thigh with both hands. And as you bring it towards you, use your left thumb and hook the outer crease of your left hip. Press that forward towards the front edge of your mat and invite equal lengthening along the left and right sides of your torso, from your armpits to your outer hips. Keep the left thigh as close to you as you can. Flex both feet again. Inhale, straighten your left leg, only to the degree where you're not straining. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Continue 3 more cycles to the pace of your breath. Now at the same time here, keep the right leg from turning out. Spin the inseam of your right thigh slightly towards the ground, pressing the instep of your right foot forward. Last cycle here. And then draw your 2 bent knees into your chest. Start to rock forward and back a few times, building some momentum so that eventually, when you're ready, you can land your hands at the top of your mat and step back into downward facing dog. Spending a few breaths, gently pedaling your feet in place to further loosen up the backs of your legs, like your hamstrings and calves. Press the ground away with fingers spread and relax the neck. Maybe shake the head, nod the head a few times. Tune into 3 more slow Ujjayi breaths here in Adho Mukha Svanasana. Then walk to the top of your mat into Uttanasana, forward fold. Bend the knees generously and tilt your weight forward as you reach the hands behind your lower back. Interlace your fingers or hold a strap between the hands to have the hands separated a little wider apart. As you breathe in firm in the belly, keep the knees bent and lift the crown of your head forward. Roll the shoulders back. Then exhale, bow towards your right leg, straightening it as you bend the left knee generously. Stretch the arms away from your lower back. Soften your jaw, soften your neck. 1 more deep breath. You might switch the interlacing of your thumb and index finger on top as you bend the right knee generously and straighten your left leg, leaning your torso to the outside of your left calf. Keep relaxing the neck. How's your breathing? As you're stretching the arms forward, lift the shoulders away from the neck. 1 more full breath here. Release the arms, bend both knees, come through center. And as you breathe in, slowly roll up to stand as if stacking 1 vertebra at a time. Roll your shoulders back and down and stand tall with your hands in prayer at your hearts in mountain pose, Padasana. Let's begin our sun salutations, cultivating gratitude for the sun, great source of energy for all beings on this planet. And gratitude to the divine consciousness that flows through all of life. Surya Namaskar C. Inhale, sweep your arms forward, coil your chest up. Exhale, bow forward from the hips. Plant your fingertips on the ground. Inhale, step your left knee behind you to a kneeling lunge and gaze up. As you hold your breath, step into plank pose, top of a push-up. Exhale, lower your knees, then your chest, then your chin in Ashtangasana. Inhale, slide forward to the ground and roll the shoulders back in Cobra. Exhale, tuck your toes, press up, downward facing dog. Inhale, step your left foot forward beside your left thumb. Lower your right knee and gaze up. Exhale, step your right foot forward and bow. Inhale, rise slowly, coiling your chest towards the sun. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, join your hands in Padasana. 1 more time, side 2. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen. Step the right knee back. Look up, kneeling lunge. Hold the breath as you step to plank. Exhale, Ashtangasana, lower knees, chest, then chin. Inhale, Cobra, slide forward, draw the shoulders back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, step your right foot beside your right thumb. Lower your left knee, gaze up. Exhale, step your left foot forward and bow. Inhale, rise slowly, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, join the hands, Padasana. Let's move on to Surya Namaskar A. Inhale again, sweep the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. This time, press your fingertips on your shins, blocks or the floor in front of you, and lengthen the spine forward to half forward fold. Exhaling, step to plank and glide forward. Bend your elbows back so they touch your side ribs in Chaturanga Dandasana. Lower all the way for Cobra or flip the toes here into upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let the movement dissolve as you steady your awareness in stillness for 3 slow breaths. When you've emptied the third, walk or float to the top of your mat. Inhale, lengthen forward to Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold to Uttanasana. Root down, inhale, rise up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands together, Padasana. One more time. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Press with your hands. Inhale, lengthen forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Either step to plank and lower, same way, or float to Chaturanga this time. Finish your vinyasa, Cobra or upward dog. And then find stillness in downward facing for 3 rebalancing breaths. Let your eyes steady on one spot, helping to steady your mental focus. When you finish the third exhale, walk or float to the front of your mat. Inhale, lengthen forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands together at the heart. Let's move on to Sun Salutation B. Our last series, let your feet come together to touch. As you inhale, bend your knees together to touch. Sit low in chair pose, Utkatasana. Exhale, shift forward and bow from the hips, Uttanasana. Press with your hands. Inhale, lengthen forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Step back to plank or float to Chaturanga and take it down into your vinyasa at your pace of breath. When you arrive in downward facing dog, inhale, raise your right leg behind you. Exhale, softly step the foot beside your right thumb and spin your left heel down. Then inhale, rise to stand in Warrior One. As you exhale, lower all the way down and finish your vinyasa. Breathing in to Cobra or Upward Dog. Breathing out to downward facing. Side 2. Inhale, raise your left leg back. Exhale the foot beside your left thumb. Spin your right heel down. Inhale, rise up, Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, lower into your vinyasa. Pausing for 3 breaths. If you need to take a rest, always available, whether child's pose or another position that's restful for you. Remember, this is your practice, so tailor it to meet what you need with self-honesty and compassion. When you're ready to empty the breath, then walk or float to the front of your mat. With feet touching, inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, fold. With knees touching, inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale to rise up. Let's pause here for a moment. Step the feet apart, hips distance or wider. parallel to each other. And bring your hands to your hips. As you breathe in, drop the shoulders, lift the heart up. Firming in the belly, exhale, bow from your hips. And if you start to find that your back wants to round, try to avoid that by bending the knees deeper. Try to create the feeling of a flat back. Now let's stretch the outer wrists here as we go deeper into our forward folds. Padahastasana. Lifting your toes, slip your palms face up underneath the soles of your feet. Try to get your toes to meet the inner creases of your wrists. And keeping your hands underneath, breathe in and lift your heart forward through the gates of your arms. Continue to draw the shoulders back while leaning forward. Exhale, bow from your hips. Now you might be able to bend the elbows apart here. As you drop your skull, lift the shoulders away from it and invite space in your neck. You might loosen the jaw if it needs it by fluttering your lips or sighing a lion's breath out to release excess heat. A few more breaths here. So you might know that forward folds like this one are actually cooling. They invite introspection as you're literally bowing into yourself. And as we go upside down like this, bringing more blood flow and even energy towards your crown energy center. Sahasrara Chakra. Slip the palms out from under. And as you tune into what your energy level is right now, choose what honors that. Take another vinyasa or cat-cows or step directly into downward facing dog. We'll meet there for a few breaths. And when you arrive in downward dog, cultivate stillness again. Steady your drishti, your gaze. Listen to your breathing. Inhale, raise your right leg back, keeping your hips squared or leveled. As you exhale, bend the knee high towards your nose so you engage the abdomen to very quietly step the foot beside your right thumb. Stay on the ball of your left foot, really high on the ball of it. Separate your feet hips distance apart and parallel to each other. Now create a feeling of stability. Imagine you're dragging the feet towards each other as you root down and rise up into crescent lunge. So raising the arms overhead, shoulders relaxed. Landing your gaze, steadying your breath. With both hips squared evenly to face your front wall, bend your front knee right on top of the heel. You can bend the left knee too if that helps you to keep your pelvic bowl upright so it's not tilting forward or spilling forward. Let's listen to another 3 breaths here. Spin your left heel down and align your right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot. Open your arms, straighten your legs for triangle pose. Glide your hips sideways towards your rear wall and lengthen your torso forward towards your front wall. Place your right fingertips lightly on your right shin or just to the right of your shin on a block or the ground. Spin your right outer hip beneath you and tack it back towards your left outer heel. As you raise the left arm, stacking your shoulders and wrists, lengthen the top of your head forward and glide your shoulder blades down your back. Spin your chest slightly to face the sky as you land your gaze on one focal point, tuning into about 4 or 5 more breaths here in Trikonasana. Gaze at the ground just ahead of your right toes and shift your weight forward into half moon pose. Plant your right fingertips forward into the right outer corner of your right pinky toe. Drag the left foot in and flex it off the ground, now creating the shape of triangle while balancing on just your right foot. Steady your gaze. 4 or 5 more breaths in Ardha Chandrasana. Gently step the left foot back into Warrior Two. When you arrive, inhale fully and exhale down to downward facing. Pause here. Check in with noticing how you feel in your body or what you feel right now. Now on your next inhale, raise the left leg behind you, keeping your left and right hips leveled. Exhale, round forward, bending the knee high towards your nose. Quietly step the foot beside your left thumb and stay on the ball of your right foot. With your feet hips width apart, parallel to each other, isometrically drag them towards each other so that you can balance as you rise up, crescent lunge. Draw the tailbone down, square your hips to face forward, and slightly lift your frontal hip bones. With your shoulders relaxed, arms straight up, let's tune into another 3 to 5 more breaths. Spin your right heel down, align your left heel to intersect the arch of your right foot. With arms wide open, straighten your legs for triangle pose. Glide your hips sideways towards your rear wall and lengthen your torso towards your front wall. Plant your left fingertips lightly on your left shin or just to the left of it on a block of the floor. Rotate your left outer hip beneath you and draw it back towards your right outer heel. As you lengthen the crown of your head forward, send your shoulders down the back, gazing up if that feels okay on your neck, spinning the chest slightly to face the sky. Let's tune into another 4 or 5 breaths here in Trikonasana. Gaze at the ground just ahead of your left foot and plant your left fingertips forward and to the left of it. Half moon pose. Drag the right foot in and flex it off the ground. Once again, steady your gaze, tune into another 4 or 5 deep breaths. So in these postures, sometimes our physical balance is challenged. Remember that equanimity has a lot to do with inner balance. So use the breath, creating calm, easeful waves. Use the eyes, steady, calm focus, relax the eyes, and let the body follow suit. All these ways you're regulating your nervous system are the same ways you can do so when you're feeling emotions pushing and pulling you out of equanimity. So when you're ready, step the right foot all the way back to the ground, Warrior Two. Inhale there. This time, please step up to the top of your mat. Let your feet come together to touch as we're going to prepare to twist in chair pose. Back to the breath, join your hands at your heart, reconnect with your intention. Inhale, bend your knees together to touch, Utkatasana. Now, without turning the legs, begin to turn your chest to the right, Parita Utkatasana. Exploring your twist for about 5 breaths here. Tack your left hip towards the rear of your mat and spin your left ribs towards your right wall. You might opt to hook the left elbow outside the thigh or not. Draw the shoulders down the back and broaden your chest. Try to keep your heart higher than your hips. One more deep breath. Sink your hips a little lower. Inhale back to chair pose. Exhale, rise up, hands together at the heart. Breathe in fully. Maybe open the mouth, release some heat. Close the lips again. Inhale back to chair. Join your hands, join your knees. Exhale, begin twisting to the left. So tack your right hip towards the rear of your mat and spin your right ribs towards your left wall. Draw the shoulders down your back and broaden your chest. You've got about 3 more breaths. Sink a little lower through the hips. Breathe in, chair pose. This time, exhale to fold. Take your blocks, place them on their tallest height. So they're about a foot in front of your feet. From here, bring your hands to your hips and lead with your chest. Inhale to rise. Calm waves of breath. Can you still hear them? Keep that going. We're gonna prepare for pyramid pose. Separate your feet hips distance apart and parallel to each other. Step your left foot behind you about as far as, let's say, 2/3 as far as warrior one. So slightly shorter stance than this posture earlier. Now make sure your feet are in their separate lane. Doesn't feel like you're trying to balance on a tightrope. Keep your legs straight and your hips facing forward. Both heels on the ground. So help to balance by activating the front muscles of your thighs. This will also support as we lengthen the hamstrings. Let's open up the chest. Bring the arms behind your back. Either press fist to fist, hold opposite forearms or elbows, or flip the fingertips to face up in reverse prayer. Seal in your bottom front ribs so you're slightly activating the belly. This will help support your lower back as we bow forward. Now keep the hips evenly facing forward, root down to your feet, spread your toes, and breathe in, tilt your chest up slightly. Breathe out, just a little bit of your range, hinge forward from the hips, then pause. Breathe in, slightly tack the right hip back, lengthen forward through the center line of the mat, and then exhale, if available, continue to fold. So just like that, breath by breath, explore your range of Parsvottanasana, pyramid pose. Remember to keep your throat open as you relax the shoulders away from your neck. 2 more breaths here. Now, micro bend the right knee, firm in the belly and lift the chest so you're about parallel to the ground with the torso. You can either lower the fingertips on the blocks, preparing for warrior 3, or join the hands in prayer, or have the arms down by your sides as you raise the left leg from the inseam, flex your left foot, and press back through the instep. Turn your left outer hip to face the ground and draw your right outer hip back as you lengthen the crown of your head forward. How's the breath? Virabhadrasana 3. Other options with the arms are to open them apart or extend them overhead, wrapping the triceps down and drawing the shoulders back. Last couple of breaths here. Now lower your hands on your blocks or the floor if they're not already. Inhale, press down with your hands and lift your chest. Keep lifting the left leg from the inseam. Keep flexing the foot. And now standing splits. Bow into your right shin. You could walk the hands closer to your right foot, playing with your balance some more. You might wrap an arm or 2 around your right calf. Try to relax the neck here. We're here for 4 more deep breaths. Remember, keep squaring your hips, which is the opposite of turning out the left leg. Set your left foot next to the right and set your blocks if they change so they're on their tallest height, about a foot in front of your feet. Bring your hands to your hips, point the elbows up. Inhale, lead with your chest to rise. Pause a moment. Allow a couple of breaths. Notice the sensations in the backs of your legs or any part of the back of your body. What's shifting through this practice on any layer? Physical, mental, emotional, energetic. Be attuned to that. This helps us to cultivate deep presence. And as you listen to your breathing, please step your right foot back 2/3 as far as Warrior One. Have the feet in their separate lanes, both heels on the ground, both hips facing forward, both legs straight. Flex your quadriceps without locking the knees. Bring the arms behind you in the same way, fist to fist, or hold the opposite forearm or elbow on top, or reverse prayer. Seal the bottom of your front ribs in, ground down through the feet, and inhale, tilt your chest towards the sky. Exhale, begin to hinge forward from the hips. Remember, take it breath by breath. Explore your body's unique range of motion today. Might be different from last time you practiced, so honor what's here now. Parsvottanasana. About 3 more breaths. Microbend your left knee. Engage your abdomen. Breathe and lift the chest forward. Choose to place your hands on blocks or join the hands at the heart or arms by your sides. Tilt your torso forward and raise the right leg from the inseam while flexing the right foot into Virabhadrasana 3. 5 breaths here. Steady your gaze. Remember, start with inner balance through the breath, through your inner focus. Relax the eyes. Lower your hands on blocks or the ground. Keep lifting the right foot flexed as you inhale, reach the heart forward. Keep squaring your hips as you exhale, bow towards your left shin. Standing splits. You might choose to walk your hands closer to your left foot. Maybe wrap an arm or two around the calf. Relax the neck. Soften the tongue, the jaw. 3 more breaths. You can exit a little differently. Step the right foot all the way to the back of your mat. Pivot your feet to face the wide width of the mat, wide-legged forward fold. Plant your fingertips either on the ground or use your blocks under your hands if the ground feels too low to reach. Press your heart through your upper arms. As you lean forward, align your hips with your ankles. Feel free to bend your knees if that allows you to lengthen the spine more easily without rounding the back. Then little by little, fold in. You might choose to clasp your big toes with your peace fingers, bending the elbows apart, dropping the head down as you lift the shoulders. You might choose to move into tripod headstand for those of you that normally practice it and are free of neck issues. Walking the hands back enough so that your wrists are directly beneath your elbows as you bend your elbows 90 degrees and are able to create a triangular base out of the heels of your palms and the top of your head on the floor. Remember to keep the arms parallel. Use your hands to push the floor away so that you can lift the shoulders away from the neck, creating space in the neck as you lift the legs straight up. Feet together and flexed, lifting the insteps towards the sky and lengthening the tailbone towards the inner heels. Sealing in your front ribs. Whatever way you're practicing your inversion right now, tune into at least 3 more deep breaths. And when you're ready, gently place your feet on the ground if they're off it. Crawl your fingertips forward, lengthen the chest forward. Pause and breathe. Then crawl your hands to the front of your mat, pivot to face the front in a lunge, and lower down to your knees. Hero's pose. So I invite you into supine hero's pose, as we'll now open up our hip flexors and fronts of the thighs, which we've been engaging quite a bit in order to create our forward folds. So if it doesn't feel comfortable to sit directly on your calves, feel free to take a block or two and place it between your ankles to sit on. Otherwise, if it does feel comfortable to sit on your calves, you might also lower down to the floor to sit between your ankles. Make sure your feet are neither turned out or in, and that your knees stay on the floor when you start to lean back, and they stay no wider than your hips distance. Seal in your front ribs, and give it about 10 breaths to explore how far you might be able to lean back. You might stay upright and feel plenty happening. Remember, we're all working with something different. And even each time we practice, we're working with something different. So honor what's here now. If you're leaning back, actively lengthen your tailbone forward towards the space between your knees. Slightly lift your frontal hip bones. This is all to support lengthening your lower back. If you're all the way back, your arms are free. You might hold opposite elbows, drop the arms, relax the shoulders. So wherever you are now, listen to another 5 full breaths. Take your time to slowly rise up to sit. Step your feet in front of you, parallel to each other, hips width apart, or use a block to hug the skinniest width between the thighs. And please lower onto your back for bridge pose, our last few back bends. So have your arms stand by your sides and slide your feet towards your hands until you could almost touch your heels with your fingertips, but not quite that close. Press down with your feet and shoulders, tilt your chin slightly back. We're gonna practice this 2 times, resting in between. So when you're ready, tilt your tailbone up and lift the hips. Walk the upper arms under your back ribs closer together. Keep your arms straight, so without bending the elbows. If your hands touch, you might choose to interlace the fingers. Press the ground away with your outer upper arms and keep tilting your chin slightly back. Now keeping your feet still, isometrically drag the heels back while actively lengthening the fronts of your thighs forward. Spiral your thighs slightly towards the ground. Tune into about 3 deep breaths before you start to lower gently in exhalation. Sapta Bandha Sarvangasana, bridge pose. Now when you've lowered, keep your feet on the ground and just pause. Notice any sensations now. 3 deep breaths. When you're ready, take your last bridge pose for 5 or more deep breaths on your own. Breathe fully into heart space while looking through it. Pause with your pelvis and feet on the ground for 3 breaths. And I'll invite you into a restorative bridge pose for 10 breaths. So take a block or two and place the widest width under the flat part of your lower back. You could stack 2 blocks if you want to go higher, or tilt the block 1 or 2 steps higher. And keep your feet on the ground parallel to each other, hips distance apart. Roll the shoulders back so the palms turn to face up. You could even bring the arms in closer. Tilt the chest slightly back. Focus on the depth of your breath. About 10 breaths in total here. You could choose to straighten the legs forward, flex the feet, and press your heels on the floor. If you do, make sure you're not turning out the legs. Keep your legs and feet parallel to each other. Protect your lower back. And then when you're ready, remove the block from underneath and gently lower your spine and pelvis. Let's prepare for a supine spinal twist. Wrap your right leg over your left leg like eagle pose and slide your pelvis about 3 to 5 inches towards the right edge of your mat. Open your right arm out to the right on the floor and ground the shoulder, maybe gaze past it, then lift your feet and slowly drop your knees to your left side. You can add a little more release for the lower back by pressing your left hand on your right outer hip, tilting it slightly towards the front edge of your mat. 5 more long exhales here. You might help to release heat from your body by exhaling deeply through the mouth. And by lengthening your exhalations slightly longer than your inhalations, help to relax your nervous system even more. And then start to roll onto your back, switch your left leg over the right. Slide your pelvis closer to the left edge of your mat and open your left arm wide on the ground. Maybe gaze past the left shoulder as you ground it. Then lift your feet and begin to drop your knees slowly to your right side. You might add pressing the right hand on your left outer hip and gently tilting your left outer hip forward. Breathing out slower than you breathe in. And then coming back onto your back, splay the thighs apart, either in happy baby pose, or you bring the arms, the insides of the legs and catch hold of your outer feet, or clasp the big toes and straddle the legs straight apart while grounding your tailbone, head, and shoulders. A few breaths here. Slide your hands to your outer thighs and close the knees together. I invite you to choose either supported shoulder stand, again putting a block underneath the lower back, but this time extending the legs straight up, or traditional shoulder stand if you are free from neck issues and can practice that without strain. So those of you going into traditional shoulder stand, which I'm going to practice too, bring the arms really close to your sides. Lift your pelvis with the help of your hands on your lower back. Extending your legs straight up vertically to create a stacking of ankles over hips over shoulders. Tilt your chin back so you're not flattening the back of your neck on the floor. You're maintaining its natural curve and length. Salamba Sarvangasana. Some of you might raise your legs overhead into plow Hamasana, in which you might interlace the fingers like you do in bridge pose. This is basically a forward fold. When you're ready to come out, place your hands on your lower back with your elbows on the floor and very carefully lower your back, lower your pelvis. Let's meet preparing for fish pose. So remove the block if you're in supported shoulder stand. Lower your legs straight ahead on the ground, feet together and relaxed. Flip your palms face down and slide them under your pelvis, under your glutes, with your thumbs touching each other. Tilt your chin back to whatever degree you can. Some of you might bring the top of your head on the floor and see the back wall upside down. So you're opening your throat. Choose to take 5 slow breaths, lion's breath, exhaling through the mouth, or activating energy. Close the lips and practice 20 to 30 counts of breath of fire. Exhaling percussively and actively through the nose. When you're done with breath of fire, inhale fully through the nose. Hold the breath in, lift your pelvic floor, draw the navel to the spine. Imagine lifting energy from your root center at the base of the spine all the way up the 7 chakras to the crown of your head. When you can't hold the breath anymore comfortably, exhale through the mouth and release your neck. Release the arms from underneath. Draw your bent knees together into your chest and rock a little side to side. Inhale, imagine breathing into your whole body. Hold the breath for a moment, sip in a little more if you can, and with a long exhale, open the mouth and release your limbs to splay out on the floor, entering stillness and rest for a few minutes in Shavasana. Now, releasing control of the breath, close your eyes and gift yourself loving presence. As you rest a little longer, come back to your body and sense how it feels right now. Gently begin to move your body little by little. You might begin by rubbing your thumb tips across your fingers. Ease into a simple stretch and gently turn over onto your right side, pausing there as you rest your head. Allow a few moments of observing the breath just as it is. And noticing how you feel right now energetically. And slowly begin to lift your body up. Find a comfortable way to sit as we practice a brief pranayama into sitting silently in meditation. You might bring the thumb and first fingers to touch. Gyan Mudra, palms face up, helping to tune inward. One of the ways to bring balance and energy to your crown center is through meditation. You might also focus your inner gaze, if your eyes are closed, just above the top of your head, visualizing the color vibration of Sahasrara Chakra, which is violet or white. You might even envision that colored light streaming down into your whole bodily system through the crown as portal. So coherent breathing is a way to deeply relax the nervous system, and it's inhaling for a slow count of 6, exhaling a slow count of 6. Let's try just a couple together and then a few more on your own before you let go of controlling the breath. Inhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Try a couple more on your own and then let go of controlling the breath. And when you've let go, I invite you to again focus on your crown center, receiving a nourishing, vibrant, source energy filled light through the portal of your crown. Entering your being. As a reminder of the pure consciousness that you are a part of. As we cultivate feelings of unity, interbeing, interconnection, you might begin to visualize different people in your life, all kinds of beings, also emanating that same source energy light, streaming into their being through their crown and shining brightly as you. Now, not only visualizing the beings that you love and are easy to see that light within, let yourself see that within all beings, even those who have challenged you. There's a way of remembering their essence. Let yourself connect to this feeling of oneness. Seeing the divine that exists in all things, all beings. This is the blessing of an awakened crown energy center. Sahasrara Chakra. Culminating again with the words of Rumi. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense. See your reflection in the other. Sense the way you're feeling now, mentally, emotionally. Invite you to choose to offer gratitude to something or someone in this moment. And from that awakened heart, remind yourself of your personal prayer, your intention for today's practice. And then remember to whom you dedicated today's practice as well. Let's join our voices. 3 chants of Om. Bowing from crown to heart center. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.